Schools with the largest economic inequality, or a big difference between how wealthy some families are and how poor other families are, had the highest rates of bullying. Children from socioeconomically disadvantaged families have an increased risk of being involved in bullying, especially as a bully or bully victim. It has been shown that adolescents from families with a lower socioeconomic status, or SES, are more often victimized and face more severe long-term mental health consequences of this victimization as compared to victims from more affluent social backgrounds. 1/3 of children are involved in bullying, most of them as bullies or bully victims. All indicators of low family SES and poor school neighborhood SES were associated with an increased risk of being bully or bully victim. 27% of children in secondary schools were involved in bullying. Approximately 13% of the children reported being a victim of bullying, 11% a bully, and 4% a bully victim.
Need space.
There are a few different strategies that you can utilize as a teacher to practice culturally responsive teaching in your classroom. Be sensitive to different cultures and educate yourself. Gain knowledge of the cultures represented in your classroom and translate this knowledge into instructional practice. On the same note, do your best to never make assumptions about a student. Do not make the assumption that a student does not do his or her work because he or she is lazy. For example, a student may not be completing work because he or she does not have the appropriate materials or resources at home. Be aware of the factors of student success and be proactive in helping students and offering your help and support in their learning. Develop learning tasks that are meaningful to the student. Make sure that your teaching is well-rounded and not focused on material or terms that only people from certain SES classes would understand. Offer flexible teaching and learning time resources. If students are from a low SES, they may not have the materials at home to complete the work, so they could stay after school and work with the teacher on tasks. Talk with your students about bullying and talk individually with your students from different SES levels and see what you can do to help or give them tips to make friends in class. Address the entire class on bullying and make efforts to be proactive and stop bullying before it begins. Lastly, give care and support. Let students know that you are there to help them. Make sure they know that you are not criticizing them if they dress differently because of low or high SES. Some students are not given a lot of care or support at home, so teachers are often the source of care and support for students.
Believe.
Okay. What kinds of experiences have you had dealing with students in different classes, meaning economic level?
I've been at various schools. The last school I was at started as a 80% was non-social, didn't have any social economic level there. By the time I left that school, it came down to 98% of it being low social economics.
Most of my students from the school I work at, probably about 80% are poverty. The rest of them come from better homes and everything, so.
I presently teach at a private school, so we have an influx of students this year that can't afford band instruments, and we've had to go out and scrounge whatever we can get and get it repaired for them. So that's where I see it mostly, is they're playing on junk.
All right, can you make a pretty good estimate about what class your student falls under after teaching for a certain amount of time?
Yes.
Is it difficult to tell if a kid is being bullied, or can you tell right away and explain?
I think sometimes it depends on the situation. Sometimes kids are, whether they're name calling or what, but you do have to take those situations seriously all the time.
How does bullying affect the student's learning?
Lots.
The students acting out
Acting out.
and trying to make somebody else feel bad or small because they think they can't do the task. But then it usually affects the whole class, at least in the end.
Can you give an example?
I have a student that likes to put other people down. And sadly, that student herself can't play. So she has no room to talk. But she likes to verbally say things to other kids when they don't do well when they play.
I think you see a lot of verbal bullying going on.
I think
and
that's the
everything.
biggest, don't you
I
think
think
so?
that's the biggest, and I think a lot of it is just because of insecurities too. And that could stem from the home environment, and it could stem from the school, being insecure. And
How does the bullying affect their social skills or home life?
again, I think that some of it stems from the home life. They see what is happening at home, and some of it, the parents, unfortunately, in some situations I've been in, the parents say they're yours for the day. I don't want to deal with any of their problems. You handle it. So that stems into, let's see what we can do to get away with, or what they can do in the classroom and different things. So you have to learn how to divert or rearrange certain things and stuff, so to meet the kids' needs and try and prevent the bullying there at school.
What have you guys done to try to prevent the bullying in your classrooms?
I treat everybody the same.
I treat everybody the same.
It doesn't matter their skill level or what kind of horn they have. They just, I expect the same from all of them. And we just,
I tell them that they need to think before they say something, and if it's something that they would not want to hear, then maybe it's best not for them to say it to somebody else.
Okay, and any suggestions for future teachers about the prevention of bullying?
I think it's becoming more and more aware that there is more bullying going on, and that you need to continue to be aware of it and to take it seriously. Even the smallest, minute thing, you need to continue to take that seriously.
sit down and just be honest with them.